UFC 314 just ended an hour ago. I'm gonna go through the whole card, give you my thoughts on each fight. We had a lot of good performances, and this really felt like the first proper card we have had in months. So, without further ado, I'm really fucking tired. This better be connected to. No, it's not. Can I? There we go. All right. So, starting off with the main event, Volkanovski won by unanimous decision. Got 249.46 148 for 47. Round one was a very slow round, but I gave it to Volkanovski. Volk stunned Lopez with a good combination, and he was relying a lot on the right hand, landing a lot of overhands, a lot of hooks, and was even able to rock Lopez a lot within the first time. Round two, we get into it. Lopez starts opening up more, manages to drop Volkanovski at the end of the second round with, I believe, a hook. But Volk got cut early on in this fight and lost sight in the fourth round. He told his corner, but it was all about him mixing in the grappling. He didn't get many takedowns, but just by him clinching, landing a lot of good elbows in there, and really finding that overhand over and over again, he becomes the first fighter to win a belt in the featherweight division at 35 years old, and he's one more title win away from um, tying Jose Aldo for most wins, most featherweight title wins in the division. And, Volkanovski, man, what can you say? One of the greatest fighters to ever do it. We all were wondering, will Volkanovski come back the same after two back to back knockout losses in 3 months? And he proved that he is one of the greatest of all time. Just watching him throw the combinations he was throwing. He even got top mount and full mount on uh, Diego Lopez a couple times in this fight and was able to show a glimpse of this scary top mount position we are used to. But Volkanovski does it, wins the belt back, nearly lost his sight, but I thought he looked incredible. I think that Volkanovski, when you look at who he is, he lost to, the number one pound for pound and the number two or three pound for pound, depending on where you put Ilya Topuria. He's one of the greatest to ever do it. Volkanovski's run as champion was something to behold when it was him, Israel Adesanya, Kamaru Usman. They ran the UFC, and that was a fun era. And maybe he breaks all those records. He would need two more title defenses. I know he said I'll probably do one fight after this. I'll have to watch the press conference tomorrow, but Alexander Volkanovski is back. Alexander Volkanovski is your featherweight champion like nothing happened. Ilya Topuria, Israel Markechev, they don't exist. But we'll see. We'll see if he comes back. I know he said he wants to do one more fight after this. Maybe it's Malshad Egborob. Maybe it's Yair Rodriguez. But I mean, he beat Yair Rodriguez already. So I'm not sure. We'll get to that fight in a minute. But really good win for Volkanovski. One of the greatest to come back, be the first guy to win the featherweight title at 35. Every time you see Volkanovski, it's a treat, man. This guy really is one of the best to ever do it. Congrats to Volkanovski. Moving on to the co-main event, Patty Pimblett wins by TKO in the third round. Patty Pimblett started off his fight with a lot of low kicks, and they worked really well. Um, Chandler landed a takedown and delivered some good strikes at the end of round one, but it wasn't really a big threat for Patty. Then in round two, Patty Chandler was piecing up Michael Chandler. He was landing at will, landing a lot of good combinations. Chandler got two takedowns in round two, but did no damage, wasn't able to transition with them. And Patty caught Chandler with the knee in round three, was able to get him down on the ground and finished him by TKO with some strikes. And this is a big win for Patty Pimblett. We know that Patty Pimblett is a big star. I know that a lot of people were picking Michael Chandler to win, but you have a guy who's on an 8-5 win streak, I believe, a really big name, you know, dancing to the cage and that. He wants a top five opponent, and we're getting close there. Michael Chandler has only been in there with elite fighters, and now the reason why I picked Patty Pimblett was mainly due to the activity, but the grappling as well. Patty Pimblett is a really good grappler. And in the lightweight division, if you want to challenge the current champion, if you want to challenge Ilya Topuria if he becomes champion, or Armand Sharika, whatever happens in the lightweight division, you are going to need a high level grappler to face whoever ends up having the belt, whether Israel leaves or not. But this was the win that Paddy Pimblett needed. He put himself in the top of the lightweight division, and maybe in a fight or two, we will see Paddy Pimblett fighting for the title. Um, I'm not a big Paddy Pimblett fan. I respect him. I think he is funny, but man, he is really fucking talented. His grappling is really good, and he called out Charles Oliveira. I think him versus Charles Oliveira is a very interesting fight. We'll have to see who Elias Topuria fights in his um second fight at lightweight ever since relinquishing the featherweight title. I doubt it'd be Patty, but I mean, again, Patty puts his name in the top of one of the biggest divisions right now, with arguably the greatest lightweight champion we've ever seen. So, a really good win by Patty. And with Michael Chandler, you're going to have the conversation, right, of the time off, of waiting for Connor. And you got to look at his run in the UFC. The UFC is the best of the best. We always say that, but like, it's not like nights like these where you really see it. Michael Chandler was a champion in Bellator. He faced a lot of good fighters, but UFC is next level. Paddy Pimblett is young. He's hungry. He wants to make his way. He wants to try and win his first major title, the way that Michael Chandler won his major title in Bellator. But a really good win for Paddy Pimblett, now a top lightweight in the UFC. Moving on to Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. Yair Rodriguez won this fight by unanimous decision, 3:30-27. If you didn't watch this fight, skip the first two rounds. Absolutely nothing happened in the first two rounds. But Pitbull got angry over back of the head shots at the end of round one. He got mad at the ref, and I even had a little confrontation with Yair at the end of the round. Yair basically stayed at range most of the fight and picked him apart. He did get top mount at the end of round two, landed some big shots in there, and he got a knockdown in round three with, I believe, a good check hook. I'm pretty sure the hook was what set him down. And then he called for his title shot at UFC Noche, which we've seen Yair fight Alexander Volkanovski. I don't really see that being a big fight. I feel like there's other fighters in the featherweight division that are coming off better performances than Yair. And it's just, once again, I'm not interested in the rematch in this point. If we are going to only get one more Volkanovski fight, I don't think Yair Rodriguez 2 is the right fight for him. But again, a really a really good third round against, the greatest Bellator fighter of all time. You have to talk about the inactivity. You have to talk about how the PFL screwed him over. Really screwed over all their fighters. But Yair stays at the top of the featherweight division. Again, though, I just think there's better fighters than Yair Rodriguez. I don't think he's ready for a title shot, and it being against Volkanovski. Maybe, if Diego Lopez won the belt, you have some there with, UFC Noche. You have Yair, the Mexican fighter, and then Diego Lopez, who represents Mexico and Brazil. Would have been an interesting fight. But I just, in my opinion, this was the worst fight of the night. Patricio Pitbull did not look good at all. And I wonder if they're going to give him a second fight. Really, probably the worst fight of the night. But I mean, again, Yair wins, stays at the top of the division. We know when he's fighting next. We'll see whether or not it's for the belt or if it's against another top contender in the featherweight division. Moving on to John Silver submitting Bryce Mitchell in the second round with a ninja choke. Um, this was a this was the biggest fight on the card. We know the build up. We know what happened at the press conferences, and that Bryce Mitchell worked really good at the start of round one. He was landing a lot of good shots. He was moving around really good. Silva had his moments throughout round one, but I would say that Bryce Mitchell was more consistent. And then Silva was able to get him down near the end of round one and went for a couple of submissions attempts wasn't able to get him. Then Bryce got caught away with a punch. Silva got a ninja choke, walked it in, got Bryce down, and got the submission. And man, what can you say about John Silva? What can you say about the fighting nerds? This, new fight camp that has only been created, I believe, like around a few months ago or a year ago. They are brutal, man. All these Brazilian fighters, John Silva, you got Tail Barala walking with him to the cage. You have so many other Brazilian fighters who are legends in their own right. John Silva is a problem for everybody in this division. You can say what you want about Bryce Mitchell and what he said on his YouTube channel, what he said in the media. Bryce Mitchell is a really, really tough fighter in this division. His only other losses are to Ilya Topuria and Josh Emmett, both guys who either won a title or fought for some version of the title. John Silva will probably be up there fighting for the belt. I don't think he'll end up fighting Volkanovski. I believe that Volkanovski will be gone. by the end of the year. But I mean, hey, this is a star, man. Everything he did at the press conferences, what he did in the lead up, what he says on X and all that. This guy is a star, and he will be a star for the UFC in the featherweight division for the next 2 years. Even though that's before you left, featherweight, man, is one of the most interesting divisions out there. You got John Silva. A lot of the best fighters in that division aren't even ranked yet, and that's a fun part. But a really good win for John Silva. We move on to Amanda Nunes being inducted in the UFC Hall of Fame. We saw this coming. She's the greatest female fighter with a record of 23-5. Her only losses were like the one fluky Juliana Pena fight the first time. She lost to Kat Zingano, I believe. And most of her losses were very early on in her career. She's a two-time bantamweight champion, one-time featherweight champion. She beats a knocked out Cyborg. She knocked out Holly Holm, not, beat Ronda Rousey. The only female fighter she hasn't fought is Kayla Harrison. Maybe we see that fight, but, for any female fighter to come close to the legacy that Amanda Nunes has, 8 title defenses, beat any notable woman in her era apart from Kayla Harrison. I don't think anybody will touch her anytime soon. The only the only people there are Zhang Wei, who again is in the later division, and then Valentina Shevchenko, who she beat multiple times, I believe, yeah. But again, shout out to the greatest female fighter of all time, Amanda Nunes. We move on to Dominic Reyes winning by first round knockout over Nikita Krylov. Man, it was a very slow start, but Dominic threw a master left, dropped Nikita Krylov, finished him on the ground, made it quick, and he makes it 3 in a row. He's beaten Krylov, he's beaten Anthony Smith, and I believe he beat, wasn't it, blanking on his name, Dustin Jacoby. That's, excuse me. Oh, there we go. Like, I was streaming this, and, this win affected me more than I thought it would. I've never been a big Dominic Reyes fan. But seeing him come back, like when you see a fighter make it to the top, make it to the title, and they get that close, they arguably beat the champion. And in his case, it is the greatest fighter to ever do this thing. Then he goes on the skate, he gets knocked out by Yuri Prochazka, he gets knocked out by Jan Blachowicz, and now, to come back, he's younger, or he's older now, has that experience. It's just a matter of how well his chin hold up. That's the big thing. And can he beat the top guys in light heavyweight? Most of the guys he will have to go through will be rematches of the people he lost to during that skid. But it was a very emotional when he was, you know, crying at the, um, he was crying when Joe Rogan was interviewing him. And, you know, us fans, we look at this sport as, we see high level fighters go in a cage and punch each other, choke each other, for 15 or 25 minutes. These guys are chasing their dream, and these guys, it is literal life and death in that cage. At any minute, their entire career could be ruined, which it looks like was the case for Dominic Reyes. But, I'm rooting for him. I was never a big fan of Dominic Reyes. I am a John Jones fan, but yeah, I'm kind of rooting for Dominic Reyes. I would love to see him make one more run, pick up a lot of some more good wins. Maybe he gets that belt. He is 35, 36, I believe. So it probably is his last little run here, but I have nothing but praise for Dominic Reyes. The run that he was on to rebound after what happened to him. Really good one for Dominic Reyes. Moving on to Danny Gay winning by third round TKO at 8 minutes 12 seconds. I put an asterisk there because we got I got a bit to say about the stoppage. Woodson outlanded DJ the first two rounds, basically did what he usually does in fights, stayed at range, landed the kicks, landed some jabs. But the main thing he would throw is just hooks and uppercuts. I think if he would have jabbed more instead of going for these big swinging punches, I think he wins this fight. Danny Gay walked him down in round three after really, two very competitive rounds from Woodson. I know Woodson's not everybody's favorite fighter to watch, but I do believe that this guy has talent. And then Sean Woodson gets stopped by the referee because he's not throwing anything. He wasn't blocking properly. And Danny Gay comes away with another win. We know that Danny Gay is a top featherweight. He's been in there with Diego Lopez, who again just lost to Volkanovski in a good fight. But for Sean Woodson, man, he needs to develop more of his game. Danny Gay, I don't know where Danny Gay goes in the featherweight division. I want to see him, you know, go on a bit of a streak. He, his losses in the UFC are all by decision. It's not like we have a guy who fights really good one fight and gets finished and all this. Danny Gay is a fucking beast, dude. And he is a tough fight for anybody on any given night. Look at what he did to Diego Lopez coming off of that couch the week of UFC 303, I believe it was. But yeah, a good win by Danny Gay. Sean Woodson, I I kicked him to win going into this just because I do think he is a talented striker. He just needs to show a lot more than what he did tonight. And again, you gotta protect yourself at all times. You gotta, constantly be pushing to finish the fight or advance in the fight. It's the biggest thing with fighters. Never leave it up to the judges. But Danny Gay pulled out with the win. And yeah, another incredible fight for Danny Gay. Moving on to Verna Jandaroba winning by unanimous decision over Yan Jonan. I can never say her last name. Verna Jandaroba comfortably won this fight. She outgrappled Yan Jonan and basically the entire fight. I Yan did look good on the feet though. She was moving well. She was moving in and out, landing some good combinations. But it was a matter of Zandarova was able to get her down when she needed to. She was able to control her back most of the fight really effectively. And she nearly got an armbar at the end of round three that would have finished the fight, I do believe. making Werner Jandarova the number one contender now. Yan is the last female that fought against Zhang Weili. What she no second last. I forgot Tatiana Suarez, but I think Werner Jandarova would pre- present some difficulty on the ground, which is I thought Tatiana Suarez, that's what she was going to do, but Zhang Weili proved that she was a better grappler than Tatiana Suarez, so we'll see. But, I mean, Verna Jandiroba is now on, what, a 4 or 5 fight win streak? Last loss was to Amanda Ribas in 2021. She's on a really good run and has had a lot of really good performances lately. Definitely deserves her title shot. We'll have to see what happens with Zhang Weili. We know that apparently she might be fighting Valentina Shevchenko for the flyweight belt, which would be a really fun super fight to have. But yeah, really good win for Verna Jandiroba. Next, we got the Chase Cooper winning by unanimous decision. A lot of people on X said this the morning fight wasn't, the most entertaining fight I've ever seen. Mainly a grappling match. Jim Miller had a few m- moments, but I mean, Chase Cooper didn't do much. I believe like the total strikes in the entire fight were below 70 for both fighters. Like it wasn't a really entertaining fight. Chase tried submitting Jim Miller in the third, but couldn't do it. But I mean, it's another win over another vet. He beat Clay Guida in his last fight. He has a win over Jim Miller now. He is a young guy. I think he's 14-4 now. I think he needs time though. I think he really needs time to develop his craft. Kind of like what Patty Kingwood did, and then maybe in a few years we can talk about Chase Cooper being a top lightweight. But I think we're far off from it. Um, again, it's a win, but I wasn't really impressed by Chase Cooper. Moving on to Julian Rosa, getting another first on TKO. He rocked Elkins early, landed some upper kicks from bottom after being taken down, which connected with Elkins' jaw, and he got him down to the ground, finished it on the ground by TKO. And Joanna Rosa is now on a 3 fight knockout streak after, I believe wasn't he submitted twice in a row? He lost those two fights in the first round before this, but he's on a really good run. A veteran of the UFC just took out another veteran in Darren Elkins. We'll see what he does, man. I like seeing this. I like seeing these veterans that can put on, one last hurrah and have a lot of incredible performances near the end of their career. I predicted Juliana Rosa to win by first round knockout. I believe I predicted every fight right on this card, apart from Danny. I picked Sean Woodson to win. I believe that is the only fight I got wrong. But we move on. Once again, though, Juliana Rosa, I cannot say enough. He has been a beast in his last 3 fights. We move on to Michael Olajacek defeating Cedric Dumas by first round TKO at 2 minutes and 49 seconds. This is when he really needed. He's coming off of 3 really tough fights. He lost one to Shara, one to is it MVP? I forgot who. For 3 tough losses over knockout. He needed this win. Dumas really didn't do much in this fight. I can't really remember. Like, a notable thing he did. But um, McCall landed a barrage of punches on Dumas, found the right opportunity, knocked him to the ground, followed it up, and got him out of their way. And like I said in my predictions, man, Mikawa or Zajac, he looks like an elite fighter against anybody who isn't an elite fighter themselves. And that's the issue I have with him. I would like to see I would like to see him going around. I would love to see him get into the rankings. It's just again, whenever we've seen him face high level competition, he's been finished fairly easily. But a good win for him. I hope he can rebound. I hope that he can put together a few wins in a row and get back to being, fun a fun guy on the rise. Moving on to Sumaderji, winning by decision. Sumaderji is the only one who landed on the feet. Um, Raposo really could not land any kind of combinations, any big strikes, really. And I wasn't really impressed by the win. Um, Sumaderji, when I did my initial prediction, predictions, if you guys don't know, Sumaderji outside the UFC was an animal. He was on something like a 13 fight first round finish streak. Majority of those were by KO, I believe, like 11, something like that. But I really wasn't impressed by either fighter in this fight. I thought that Raposo had a plan to win. He just needs to commit to the feet more, commit to the striking, and give up a bit on the grappling. But either way, it was an okay fight. It's just for what I think Sumaderji could be, he really hasn't found that. And I compare him to Manel Kopp. Manel Kopp though was a good fighter, but it took him a while to find what he had in Ryerson in the UFC, and now you look at Manel Kopp, he is now a top contender in the flyweight division. Moving on to the next fight, Marco Tullio surviving a attempted robbery, making it to tonight, and I'm calling it right now. Marco Tullio is probably the scariest middleweight not ranked. He dominated this fight. He outstruck um Gore by 146 to 17. Major power, great combinations, and really kind of just did whatever he wanted. First round, demolished him. Second round, continued the pressure, found the shots he needed, got him down, followed it up on the feet, and I truly believe this is another monster in the middleweight division. After the middleweight division was, you know, very dull during the Adesanya Whitaker days. Like when Adesanya and Robert Whitaker were the 1 and 2. Not that Marvin Vittori wasn't good or Jerry Cannonier, but they were not on the level of the middleweights we have coming up now. KO Baralo, Hamza Chimaev, we have DDT as champion. Like it is murderer's row in middleweight right now, and you know, obviously we have guys like Hamza and DDP. I think that there's not many easy fights for them coming up, but again, Marco Trujillo is a guy to look out for on the rise, and I can't wait for him to get into the top 15 of midweight and we really start to see what he is made out of. Then we move on to the opening fight of Nora Kanoe submitting Haley Kwan in the second round with a rear naked choke. Haley Kwan had a really good second really good first round. Excuse me. She landed a takedown, did a little bit, but round two, Nora Knowley was able to get her down and was able to find the rear naked choke with ease. It was really seconds after taking her back where she was able to sink it in and get the submission. But I really like Nora Kanome. I think that she is one of the most interesting women's fighters coming up. She is wickedly talented. Hopefully, she can make weight next time without, that controversy moving into the card. But I mean, all in all, man, this was a terrific card. This was the first time in a while where I looked at this card from top to bottom. I was like, you know what? We got banger fights, and then we got to watch them. I would say all but the Yair and Pitbull fights were really entertaining fights. But let me know, what did you think about the fights in the comments down below? Who were you surprised by? And what do you think is next for Alexander Volkanovski? What is next for Yair Rodriguez? Do you think he makes it to another title shot? Personally, I don't think so. And yeah, I got a lot of topics to go over this week too. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Also, too, thank you to anybody who tuned in to the live stream. I plan on live streaming on a more consistent basis. It's just, I've been going to the gym more, been doing more outside of, being on the internet 24/7. But other than that, that's what I got. Later.